It's California Edition. My name is Brad Pomerance. We are in Sacramento, the state's capital today. We are joined by Cate. He is the executive director of the California State Association of Counties. Did I say that right, CSAC?
You did.
And I want to speak with you about a headline that was in the LA Times recently. It says, Brown prison reforms fall short of goals. Of course, we're focused upon what's known as the Prison Realignment Plan. You had been Secretary of Corrections before you came to CSAC.
Right.
I want to get a sense from you if you think that headline is fair.
I disagree with it. I think that the implication is that there's been a failure of some kind in what the governor's done. I think in large part it's been very successful. Keeping in mind that he was facing a massive prisoner release order from the courts and a massive budget deficit, while it may not have met all of his goals and there's still some things to work out, I think overall it's been a success.
I want to get a sense from you about your membership, though. I speak with county supervisors up and down the state, DAs up and down the state, sheriffs up and down the state. They are not monolithic in their views about realignment. Their views range from kind of tacit disappointment that they have to deal with it to absolute outrage. Is my reading fair?
Oh, well, there's 296 county supervisors,
yeah,
58 elected sheriffs, and list goes on. So obviously human beings are going to differ on these kinds of things. And the other thing to keep in mind is that realignment has not hit all counties equally. It's
so
true.
That's probably why I'm hearing different views.
Some have had a harder time than others, typically based upon how crowded was their jail to begin with, how hard hit was their budget by the recession, and how much flexibility do they have today to deal with these new issues.
What's frustrating to some counties, though, it's what's known as the long-termers. When county jails were built, they were built for short-term stays, not long-term stays. That's where the prisoners go, to state prisons. But I recently spoke with a former colleague of yours, Terry McDonald, who's now the assistant sheriff in LA County. And she talks about, and I've heard this before, about a Mexican national who was convicted for drug offenses, but they were still considered triple nons, and due to enhancements, that individual will be serving 42 years in a county facility. That is problematic for LA County.
Yes, and if I had to put something down as a disappointment, it would be that the legislature didn't pass some kind of a jail sentence cap. In my view, these inmates should not be doing more than 3, 4, 5 years in county jail. Even that's probably too long, but stays of 20, 30, 40 years are absolutely out of the question. We've got to get it fixed. I think the governor's going to go back and fight again to get something done there.
What seems natural would be what's known as a swap. So let's say someone is ending their long-term prison sentence. Why don't we have them serve the end of their sentence in a county facility and send the long-termer up to the state prison? It's not clear to me why that can't happen.
Well, two reasons. Number one, remember, you'd have to send 10 short-termers for a long-termer, right? Because you got equal number of years. But secondly, you have the issue of the federal courts. So the courts literally have imposed orders on almost every segment of corrections in California, and those rights follow the inmate. And no county, who I know represent, wants the federal courts involved in their jails.
When we come back, I want to speak to you about whether realignment has caused a spike in property crime. It's debatable. I'm Brad Pomerance. We'll be right back. So I want to speak with you about the notion of property crimes. When we look at trends in crime over the last 5-7 years, interestingly, trends have been going in the right direction, which is counterintuitive for some because you would think the trend would be increasing crime with a downturn in the economy. But that's not been the case. There is one area, though, where we have seen a spike, and that is in the area of property crimes. The detractors of the prison realignment system say, aha, here's an example of where prison realignment is failing because the property crimes are being committed by those that were realigned into county facilities. They're getting out early because counties are overcrowded. What's your sense on that?
Well, it's hard to say. The experts cannot agree. There are opinions all over the place. We do have some agreement. We know that violent crime, fortunately, has not spiked as a result of realignment. It seems to be trending along with the rest of the country. Most property crimes, especially the most serious burglary, have not spiked. The place that we're focusing on now is in auto thefts. We've seen a 12% rise in auto thefts in California, and we're not sure if it's because there's not enough room in jails to kind of to put the incentive in these guys to no longer commit this kind of crime, or if there's some kind of drug gang issue that's behind it. So a little concerned about auto thefts in particular.
Could we not literally just look at the perpetrators and say, aha, this individual was released through AB 109, or they were not?
Sure, yes, you can. The question is, what would have happened absent 109? Because remember, most of these auto thieves weren't doing a lot of prison time anyway. They were rotating in and out of the prison system. Now they're rotating faster through the jail system. So some impact, your instincts say yes, but we haven't quantified it as of yet.
We know that Governor Brown, some would say miraculously, has been able to get the federal court to extend the time within which the prison system must contract. At the same time, we know the prison system is actually increasing in terms of numbers. It was going down a bit, it's spiking up a bit. I know that's not your problem anymore, but that being said, I do want to get your sense about the pressures of the state system, because ultimately they will land on the counties if these numbers continue to spike.
Yeah, that's right. It's a concern. The trends are going the wrong way. We know the prison system is going to have to do more than they've done in the past, and they've done a lot to reduce their population. More than any other state in the country, California has reduced their population. It's not enough for the courts, and I think public safety advocates should be concerned. What to do about it, though, is a much more difficult question, right?
I want to shift gears, if I may, and ask, what else is the focus of CSAC? Obviously, realignment is a very significant issue in which counties are grappling. What else is on your plate?
Well, Brad, it's funny. Most people don't realize county government is really where all the state laws actually get implemented.
And where federal money flows.
Correct. So, for example, one big focus is we're implementing the Affordable Care Act in California.
That's a big focus, no doubt.
No doubt. So not only making sure we get the right people signed up for the right insurance, but more importantly for the long-term survival is, do we have the money right? Are we getting the right amount of dollars to handle those new responsibilities?
I want to ask you, and I'm just looking at this as an outsider, just a neutral journalist. It seems that the Affordable Care Act has rolled out fairly well in California. Other states maybe not as well, but it seems like California and Kentucky are the big success stories. Am I just being snowed by the media, or is that what's happening?
Well, keep in mind, something special was happening in California for the last 5 years. 53 of the 58 counties have been early implementers. So we've been working on the bridge to reform for half a decade.
I see.
And that lead-in has, I think, in large part is the reason it's worked so well.
So where do counties go from here? Obviously, they have increased responsibilities with an increasing Medi-Cal population. The Medi-Cal expansion has been wildly successful.
Right. And so what that means is that what we've seen, counties have done a good job of moving people off of the uninsured rolls, which were draining county budgets, onto Medi-Cal rolls, which the federal government is paying for. So that's a good thing. They're insured. They're not using the emergency rooms, as their insured backstop. So all is good. What we're trying to track now is, do the dollars add up, and can we still do the other things we have to do? For example, public health, inoculations, spread of disease, all that.
He is Matt Cate. He is with CSAC. I'm Brad Pomerance. I'm with the California Channel, and this is California Edition.